What is a primary source document? This is a very important thing to know when you get into the history field or you start studying things about the past in general. A primary source document is a document that was created at the time of the event by someone who was at the event. It could be a newspaper article, it could be a letter, a diary, it could be a piece of art, it could be a photograph, but it was made by someone who was there or witnessed the event and then talked about it at the time of the event. Now, there is some leeway here with one thing, and that is a memoir. If you were at a major event in history and you decided later on, I want to write about it and remember my experience there, you were still there at the time and you could utilize a memoir as a way to bring that across to someone. So a memoir is a primary source document because if the person was there and they experienced it or they were alive at the time and experienced that particular time period, it is a primary source document. Now, if you go out and you write a book about someone who wrote the letters or the artist who did the painting or shot the photographs, that is a secondary source. So we're just going to look at primary sources for this particular video. There are some strengths and there are some weaknesses of primary sources. Strengths are we're getting knowledge of what they were thinking at the time. So let's say in our era, you kept a journal during the COVID-19 pandemic. That is now a primary source for future generations. But are you going to put everything in that journal? Are there things that maybe were left out, knowingly or unknowingly? That's the job of the historian. We have to remember that whoever is writing the account has an audience that they want to bring this across to, and they also have a purpose, a reason. Was this a good reason? Was this a not so good reason? And we have to figure all that out as we go through. That's why some primary source documents, you just don't take them at face value. You have to think, who's the intended audience? Who's the author? What are their intentions? Is someone giving them money to make this article? So those are things that we must really dive into as historians to truly understand how strong a primary source document is. And as I said, these could come in all number of things, such as letters, such as photographs. We have to really consider the source, the audience, and remember that everyone can't see everything at one time. So, compiling as many primary source documents together to come to a partial conclusion is always the best way to move forward. When we get into secondary sources, we'll see our job as historians to truly understand what our job is to bring those primary sources across to new audiences with our own thoughts, ideas, our own motivations, and our interpretations of the past. But remember, a good argument is always solidified by the use of primary source documents and interpreting the meaning of that particular piece of history.